Welcome back everyone to our channel University Assistant. Today we will have an exciting video lined up for you, and we will be diving into the world of Linux and exploring some basic Linux commands that every beginner should know. So if you are ready to enhance your Linux skills, let's get started. So in this video, we will be covering some fundamental Linux commands that will help you to navigate and interact with your Linux system effectively. So before we jump into commands, let's quickly talk about the Linux command prompt. So if we open the terminal, we will see a prompt that looks something like this. And now I will press Ctrl Shift plus in order to increase the font size, and to decrease the font size we can use Ctrl minus. Okay, so this prompt usually displays the username and then the name of the machine and then the current directory we are in. And in this case, we are in the home directory right now, and how we know is by seeing this tilde wave sign. Okay, so let's get started with our first command. So the pwd command, which stands for print working directory or present working directory, it tells you the directory you are currently in. Simply type pwd and press enter, and it will display the full path of your current directory. So as I said, we are in the home directory called Kali. Next, we have the ls command, and it stands for list and is used to display the content of a directory. Now, typing ls and hitting enter will show us the files and directories in our current location. So we can see that we have these desktop documents, download all these folder or directories in this home directory. All right, so the cd command is short for change directory, and we can use it to navigate between directories. For example, if we want to go to a directory called desktop, we would type cd and then the name of the folder desktop and press enter, and it will take us to that particular directory, and we can see that our current directory has moved to desktop. Okay, so let's create a directory right now, and rest of the commands that we will be using, and all those commands will be executed from that particular directory. Now, the command that can help us in this regard is called make directory, mkdir. So if we type mkdir and then give the name of that folder that we want to create, it will create that folder. So let's give it a name called basic commands and press enter. So now again, let's go into that basic command folder, and how we will do is cd and then basic commands. So now if I want to autocomplete this whole command, I can press tab, and what tab will do, it will help us to autofill the folder name, and it will save our time, and it will also reduce the risk of typo and making any mistake. So press enter, and we will be moved into the basic commands folder right now. So now you might be thinking of like how we can go back. So we can again use the cd command, but this time we want to go one step back to the desktop again. So how we can do is cd space dot dot and what it does is it takes us to the parent directory, which is the desktop right now. So we are in the basic commons, and the desktop is the parent directory of this basic common. So all these Linux directory works as a tree hierarchy. So if we actually go inside this file system, we can see that we have all these different folders available in the Linux file system. And this file system, what we are seeing right now is for the root users. So basically all of these are in our root directory, and the Kali user that we have a directory inside the home directory. So think of it, at the first hierarchy we have the root directory, and inside that root directory we have all these other folders, and over there we have this home directory which comes after the root directory, and inside this home directory we have that Kali users folder, Kali users home directory. So then we have this desktop inside that home directory, and inside desktop we have created this basic commons folder. So can you see that it's all like a tree hierarchy, right? So one after another. All right, so now if we actually do cd dot dot, it takes us to the parent directory. Can you see that we now moved back into the desktop? So now you might be wondering what happens when we do only one single dot instead of two. So what it does is it actually keeps us in the present directory. So remember, this dot means the current directory. So single dot means current directory. And if we press cd space dot, and it will not move us to anywhere. It will keep us in the desktop, because we are saying that change the directory to the current directory. Let's clear it out, clear the terminal. All right, so let's get back again to basic commands. All right, now if we want to create an empty file, we can use the command called touch. If we type touch and then give the name of that file and press enter, and Linux will create a new file for us called test.txt. Now how we can see it, we can use the ls command. Now instead of creating one file, we can actually type multiple file names, giving space in between, and it will create those. All right, so I will create one final file over here and a directory as well. So can you see that I am actually putting a dot at the beginning of this file name, and it will create a hidden file. You will see like what I mean. And let's create a directory now. We will create mkd dot hidden folder. Let's clear it out. So now if we do ls, we can see that those two files and folder that we created using dot at the beginning, we cannot see it right now, but as we know that those are hidden, then ls has one option that we can use called all, and short as a. So ls minus a can show us all the files and folders, including the hidden one as well. So now you might be wondering how you will memorize all these commands and options, right? You don't need to memorize all of these, to be honest. By practicing it regularly, you will eventually remember the main commands, and if you know the commands, you can actually take the help from the help option to know more about the options that you can actually use for any command. So for example, if we want to know what other options are available for this ls command, we can do ls space minus minus help, press enter, and it will show us how actually we can use this command. So as you can see, the usage, first you will always be typing the main command, and then you will be able to give the option and then any other file if you want to. So we can see that there are a lot of other options that we can actually use -a or minus all, and as we can see that it's saying that do not ignore entries starting with dot. That means it can also show us all the files and folders that is actually hidden. So there are lots of other options that you can explore with this command. Alright, so now I want to write something inside these files. There are different editors that we can actually use. Nano is one of them and is pre-installed in Kali. So if we type the name of the editor, Nano, and then the file name, press enter, and it will take us to the prompt of Nano, and over here I can type whatever I have to. So let's say this is test1 txt file, and now the main command that you might actually need to use Nano are all given over here, and these upper arrow means control. So if we want to exit out of this Nano editor, we can do Control X, and it is asking for us to say whether we want to save these changes or not. So press Y to yes, and if you don't, then press N to no. So I will say press Y, and it's asking me whether I want to change the name of the file, and I don't want to, so simply I will press enter, and it's saved. Now I can again use Nano and the file name to view what is inside that file, right? But I can also use another command called cat, which also can show us what is inside this file. So if we do cat test1.txt, it shows us that we have written this is test1 txt file. Alright, so the next command is cp or copy. So this cp command allows you to copy files and directories. So now if we want to copy this test1.txt file into test2.txt, how we can do is first cp and then the file that we want to copy, which is test1.txt, and then space the file where we file or the folder where we want to copy that test1.txt file. So we want it to be copied in test2.txt. So now press enter. So it's been copied. Now we can check what is inside test2.txt, and we can see that the data or the information that we had in test1 has been copied into test2.txt. And the same way we can do it for any folder. So let's do one thing. We will copy and we will copy this test1.txt information inside a folder, and within that single command we will be actually creating a folder as well. Alright, so first what we want is we want to create a directory called test, and then this command will copy the test1.txt to this test folder that we will be creating. So when we press enter, first it will create this test folder, and then it will copy this txt file information inside that text folder. So this and allows us to connect multiple commands together inside a single line. So if we press enter and let's see ls, and we can see that we have this test folder, and now if we go inside this test folder, we can see that we have this test1.txt copied. Now, what about move? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to copy every time, right? I want, I already created this test one or test two, right? And I just want to move it. So how we can do that? Let's go back to basic commands and clear it out. So now if I want to move any files or directories to a different location, I can use the command called mv or move, and it also works the same pattern that we had for cp. Um, let's move our test.txt file inside the folder that we created, test. So now we are not copying this test.txt. This time it will be moved to this test folder. And if we do ls, we can see that the test.txt file has been moved. So now if we go to the test folder, we will be able to see that file has been moved. So now the same way we can actually use this mv command to rename as well. So now let's say that, I mean, we are repeatedly saying test, 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 you know, it's confusing, right? So let's change this test1.txt into a new file name called personalinfo.txt. If we do that and let's do ls, so now we can see that we no longer have this test1.txt, rather is been renamed to personalinfo.txt. Okay, so the next command that we will be using is rm, which allows us to remove files or directories. Now we need to be cautious while using this command, as deleted files cannot be easily recovered. So now to remove a file, we simply type rm followed by the file name and then press enter. So let's delete this index.html file. So rm and space the file name and press enter, and it will delete that file. Now what about a directory? If we want to remove a directory, again the same thing, rm and then the name of that folder. So what do you think, what will happen if we press enter? It's saying that it cannot be removed, right? And why? Because we have some other files inside the text directory. So now can we actually force this removal? We can. How? Let's actually see what are the options are available with rm. So with rm we can use this -f option, and which says that ignore non-existent files and arguments and never prompt before every removal. So it will forcefully delete everything. There are this -r or recursive option, which says that it can remove directories and their contents recursively. So it will go inside and then delete all the files one by one. So to delete a folder, we can use this -r option. So rm -r and then the name of that folder. So now let's do ls, and we can see that this test folder has been deleted as well. So now there is another command that we can use instead of help, and it can be really useful when we want to learn a lot about any command in detail. And the command is called man or manual, and it provides us with the manual or documentation of a specific command. So if we just type man followed by the command that we want to learn more about and press enter, it will display detailed information about that command. So we can see that previously we had only these options and some basic information, but this time we have, you know, a lot of other information as well. and it can be really useful when you want to learn more about any new command that you are learning or practicing. So always remember, these help and man will be your friend while you are exploring any new command or you want to learn about a new command. So now in order to get out of here, we have to press Q to quit. Alright, so finally the command that we will be using is exit, and it will exit from this terminal. So the terminal has been exited. Now, there can be some other scenarios as well where you might want to use exit. So, for example, if I am working as another user within this current session, or I have converted myself into a root user and I have done some working over there, and now I want to get back to the previous user, right? Instead of where I am working currently. So I can simply do exit and it will take us back to the previous user. So as you can see, we were root, and now after pressing this, after typing this exit, it takes us back to the Kali again. Alright, so that wraps up our list of basic Linux commands. I hope you found this tutorial helpful in understanding some essential commands that will make your Linux journey smoother. So remember, practice is the key, and the more you use these commands, the more comfortable you will become with Linux. Feel free to explore and experiment with these commands to deepen your understanding. And thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech tutorials. Until next time, happy Linux exploring.